Don't forget to support the Saginaw still. Absolutely. Don't shoot me. I'm just a messenger. I am the messenger. Now, welcome. Let's get right to it. Stephen A. Smith. Y'all favorite individual. Should we be the one to tell you about it? Should we be the ones to talk to you about the situation, to kind of guide you through the progressions? Let's talk about it. Now, here's the developing situation. Stephen A. Smith and those who are Stephen A. Smith has damaged his reputation that he thought he had. You know how some people believe that they're bigger than what they actually are because people know of them? People can know of you does not mean that they're interested in you. There's plenty of people who try to use their face card and say, look at me. All right. Glad that's over. Face card checked. Let's go. But it doesn't mean that people care to see you. You see, we have plenty of people that we see, we recognize, we go, hey, that's Tiger. Remember Tiger? He made that song Taste. But ain't nobody trying to book Tiger. Do, 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 do. So, with all that carrying on, with all that, what you see in front of you, right? Why would anyone take a different position? You know? So as I take the lane and go to another side, I would always often say, why would anyone choose to go the route Stephen A. Smith went? Because his eyes was bigger than his appetite. He starts seeing himself get all this YouTube attention that he paid for. See, it's a lot of fools out there in the game. And when you have a lot of fools out there, oh, they're tearing up my basketball court. Oh, we finna have a whole new rebuild. See, this is what's supposed to happen in your communities. That's not happening. Your tax dollars are supposed to go into your community to be rebuilt. Right? So now we're getting new and improved. Whole new area. Redone. See, out here, when they complain, bulldozers get to work. Because they know the position of power that the many has over the few. But that's another story that we talked about on the Patreon already. Now, let's get to this. So Stephen A. Smith decided, once they made him executive producer of First Take, it started going to his head. He didn't want Molly Kerm on the show. Molly and him had a falling out. This was earlier in the year, about how he didn't want it to be called SA. He didn't want that as a nickname. Because, of course, SA, when people say you SA'd me, you know, they're not thinking about Stephen A. Smith. So he doesn't want that attached to his name. She had went to HR before about Stephen A. Smith, about how he's condescendingly attacking him on the air. And she's always said, I have your back. Why other people here at ESPN, they don't. So a lot of people that work there don't like Stephen A. Smith. From people on the staff, crew, whatever, they just don't like him. Arrogance, attitude, etc. She was like, I'm trying to look out for you. And then once you realize that it's me and you versus the people here, the better off we're going to be. But ESPN didn't look at her as a team player. So organization didn't like her either. They wanted her to do more things, which she's turned down. And they were like, she's sitting up on a castle. We can't fire her, because if we fire her, then we look like, you know, the feminists that come after us. We fired this Molly Kerm. But they were paying her the bare minimum of standards. And because she turned down all these things they offered her, they stopped offering her anything. They wanted her gone. So they offered her low money. Then they gave Stephen A. free reign. All right, Stephen A., what do you think we should do? So Stephen A. was working to bring in Shannon Sharp from Undisputed. Once Shannon Sharp move came in, the numbers doubled, jumped up off the screen. So that was already working. So now he's got free reign to do what he want to do. Shannon Sharp, we only put him on 2 days. So they had him on there for 2 days a week. That was it. Man, those 2 days a week were massive. ESPN numbers were through the roof. So they trusted Stephen A. Smith as if it was him and his judgment that made all this work, when it was really Shannon Sharp. He was the one that's moving the needle. But the credit, Stephen A. Smith was taking for everything. He was taking all the credit. Hello, don't forget to hit the like button, y'all. We gotta get those likes up. What are we doing out there? Subscribe to the page if you hadn't already. I shouldn't even have to say all this, but yes, definitely do so. Appreciate the support, the love, all of it. Now, where are we going to for breakfast? Because it's only finna get more interesting now. So now all the attention is going into this show. They putting the money in. So now they get Stephen A. Smith is like a genius. Anything he does works. So he's bringing in all these other people. You got Mad Dog Russo, the replacement Skip Bayless. So Mad Dog from radio is on there. He's bringing in all this black woman that comes on there and thinks she knows everything, and she couldn't even make it as a sideline reporter in the NFL. They bring her out there. Then they bring Ryan Clark in. They bring in Jay Williams. They bring it in, and he wants a revolving door of people coming through every week. There's different people popping up, making it like a variety show. Then Shannon Sharpe leaves. Boom. They felt like, well, we can't keep Shannon with all his controversy. Shannon's gone. Then Molly leaves. Nobody cares about Molly. Boom, Molly's gone. So now Molly's gone, Shannon Sharpe is gone, and you got this revolving door that keeps spinning around in a circle. And guess what happened next? They bring in Cam Newton, right? Cameron was the first person they tried to get to come on the show. And he had his incident on CNN. And once his CNN thing with his horsepower promotion that got him pretty much banned from CNN, the ESPN bosses, they saw all of this. So when the ESPN bosses saw all that, that's when Stephen A. Smith was like, look, the bosses see this. They said, this is the guy you want on First Take. I see a problem. So they hired Cam Newton. Cam does a good job on First Take from what I'm hearing. But they like Cam on 4th and 1 a lot better than they do on ESPN. Then everything changes. It jumps up, changes positions, and starts to move in another direction. So every week, Ryan Clark is he says something on ESPN airwaves, on ESPN stations, then have to apologize on ESPN. This was happening like once every 2 months. Ryan Clark said this and then issues apology. Ryan Clark says he apologized for calling these people this word. Ryan Clark apologized. It was a Ryan Clark apology fest. So now they got stricter holds on Ryan Clark. Now, after all of this plays out, the numbers are starting to stay about the same, a little tilt higher, but they're staying the same. Then Stephen A. Smith started to go into a political war. He started turning his channel that he built on YouTube, that he spent millions of dollars, his own money, out his own pocket, to build his own studio, get a production crew, and pay, where he loses money on this channel every day. It's turning in no profit, no money, takes a loss, but yet he's pushing out more content. He scaled back the content that he puts on the Stephen A. Smith show not because he's busy, because it's starting to cost him more money. So now he's going into the political field where he's leaning to the right, but still trying to say he's left and that he's on both sides because he wants to play both sides of the fence. This is not going the way he thought, because with tensions as high as it is in this country, the best thing Stephen A. Smith could have did for himself was shut up. But nope, he doubled down. He's saying that all blacks 1 year should try to vote Republican. Why would you say that if you're partial? Why would you allude to that if you are somebody who's indifferent? As he comes out and slams the Democratic Party on Cam Newton's show. Yeah. Now, let's get to this, because I want to be very clear about the words that we're speaking and what is actually said here. When you have all of these situations happen, guess what happened to the first take numbers? He thought what he did on his Stephen A. Smith show was not going to affect what he does on his real show. He was wrong. And because he was wrong, all of these things came around full circle. Because now, with them bringing in new people, the numbers from First Take did this. It was up to here, and it dropped to right here. And for you guys, that means nothing. Like, what would you care if Stephen A. Smith numbers just took a little slight dip? So, what does that mean for you? No one cares if his number takes a slight dip. Who cares about that? You know who cares about it? The studio that's spending millions and millions of dollars. Those little percentages of a 12% dropping down to a 9% or 10%, that means tens of millions of dollars. That means reduced sponsorship. That means the ad revenue that was there, that was going through the roof with production studios and credits, is all wiped out. Networks of people who are believing in this system is all evaporated. And it's Stephen A. Smith at the helm that's causing this droppage. That's what the network's bosses see. And only people who have been on television and people who knows the rating systems, who cares about that, understands what those margins are. They can say, well, Steve, First Take is still number one. What is it going up against? The show was only number one due to its outlets. Now that the outlets, it don't matter anymore, because they're losing to the internet. Ladies and gentlemen, the internet. People will spend more times in the morning watching Cam and Mace. It is what it is. And now you got Cameron on your show. Because it is what it is. It's taking your viewership. Let's get Cam Newton in here because it's taken from our viewership. So if it's taking from your viewership, right away, they're going to start to pivot. They have to make creative choices that centers around their core and what they expect whenever they make a decision. So, Cameron being on there as a guest, he doesn't have a contract yet. But they brought him on as a guest as a test run. They brought in Gilbert Arenas as a test run. Do you see Gilbert Arenas working at First Take? No. But why did Gilbert Arenas want that job? Why did he want a job if his podcast show was doing so great? Because they buy these numbers. They buy the attention. They pay to play. So when they pay to play, they buying the viewership. That's why he's running the ESPN to try to get on that show. To get more exposure. To try to build up his podcast platform. And they want to kiss Stephen A. Smith ass because they think he's the power teeth. No, he's not. He's the gatekeeper for all y'all want to get on network television. Like ESPN. Because if Stephen A. don't like you, you ain't going to be there. And all he wants is other minions that's going to follow under his thumb. Well, that's because when people try to actually be bosses instead of play boss, they want the people that want to play boss. They'll do business with them. The people that want to be actual bosses, they want to try to shut that down because they want people to be in a simulation. Stephen A. Smith has never held a business in his life. So, of course, he doesn't know how to scale. The Stephen A. Smith, you know how long he's had that YouTube channel? He's had that channel talking about some, you know, I've been grinding. That's the same channel. You just keep changing the name. It was No Mercy. Stephen A. Smith, No Mercy. Nobody cares. You've been around like a dinosaur in heat for years. Now you got in the political space and thought you can BS your way like you do through sports. Most people just don't care about sports. It's nothing but rhetoric anyway. But in the political field, where jobs are lost, people really care in that political space. And they'll call you out on your bullshit or what you don't know. So you can't be able to BS your way through that. And they punch holes right through it immediately. And all these people who you claim was your friends and all this, they just let you do what you do. Now you about to mess with their offices and stuff. Oh, they gonna turn around and start exposing your ass. And you think these Republicans that you come on their show to help them out, they're gonna have your back. Stephen A. Smith don't have supporters and followers. Man, a line of fans lined up to see Stephen A. Smith. Do you want to know what happened when you went to FIU, Stephen A.? Who invited you to FIU? Wasn't it Isaiah Thomas? Detroit Pistons Isaiah Thomas? Invited you to come speak to the kids at the university? It was free. It was free admission. And they couldn't even get the people in there to see you. And you want to know what the school paper wrote about you and your appearance there? Stephen A. Smith appeared very arrogant and cocky, blaming everyone for him not making it further in the business, trying to hold him back. Meanwhile, strutting as if he won everything. And what made it very interesting is that when Jason Whitlock was getting an award and you just happened to be there and you got up on the microphone and spoke, you were taking up all his talking time, like it was your time to talk. Like you were getting an award. And he said the very same sentiments that went on at Florida International University. Where you brought up Kwame Brown, tried to shame him in front of those people. Did you forget you did that too? Like, we knew of Stephen A. Smith. We saw him in passing. I used to see you at the fights, remember? Saw you at the Floyd Mayweather-Zab Judah fight. At UNLV. And the sister you was with from Chicago, whose ass was so fat, it's kind of embarrassing. Oh God, it was perfect. And I gave you credit on your taste, brother. Like, there you go. That's how you represent. And what did you go do? You turned into this. Now, I didn't mention your involvement in the Roz Gold situation. I didn't mention y'all lunch. At least not here. I think I did it on the Patreon. Did I tell y'all about that? I don't know. I'll leave that to him. Let's just say he had a slight interest in the Golden State Warriors for a whole nother reason. And when a man had to fly out to Oakland to fly back to New York on a red-eye flight just to do a morning show, why did you want to switch to ESPN at 6 p.m.? You were tired of doing mornings, remember? Then Jamel Hill got the job with Michael Smith and not you, because you said something stupid on TV and almost got you suspended again. And you had to meet with the female executive of ESPN. You remember that, right? You know I got the proof. Now, the narratives are the same even though they change. See, Cameron and Cam Newton don't need ESPN. So they're not subservient to it. They don't have to kiss ESPN's ass like you do. They can walk. That's just an extra bag that helps out and give exposure to their internet platform shows that they do care about. Stephen A., did ESPN do a deal with your podcast show? Hmm? Because Blast Media invested into Jason Whitlock's show. That's how, they're pretty much conservative right wing. So they're gonna have all the tools he needs to push his agenda forward. Meanwhile, Stephen A. Smith is trying to speak for all black people. It's hilarious. It's condescending and hilarious. Trying to tell people with no recollection of the system whatsoever why black people vote a certain way when he has no clue, didn't do any research, but it sounds like Stephen A. Smith. This man told you Golden State Warriors haven't made the playoffs since they won the championship in 2022. Clearly, he was wrong. They've made the playoffs, including last year in the playoffs. They lost. 2024 was the only year they didn't make it. Since winning in 2022. They lost in the second round in 2023. 2024, they wasn't in it. And in 2025, they lost in the first round. This year, they lost in the play-in. But Stephen A. goes on doggone TV and spew the wrong information. As confident as he is stupid. So getting him taken off of NBA games is essential. Because he doesn't add any value to it. So you're wasting your time and money having him do these jobs. Get people that NBA people would care about. That's why they went to former players. The other networks get it. People like Dirk Nowitzki. They love Dirk. Get Dirk talking about the game. Oh, I'd rather see a show that got D-Wade, Dirk, Haslam. Give me that show than anything that got Stephen A. Smith on it. But when black people tell you they vote just like how white people vote, do you not realize all white people are not conservatives? Do you realize that? Some are independents, some are Democrats, some don't care to vote. Same thing with blacks, same things with Hispanics. There are conservative Hispanics, there's some independent Hispanics, and there's some that just don't give a damn. And some are Democrat. But when blacks, y'all try to make it like all blacks are Democratic. Giannis will be traded before the draft or during the draft. I told y'all that. That's a fact. They want to move swift and quick with Giannis. Now, let's get to the gist of all of it. Stephen A., your hero and not mine, has told you black people vote Republican or Democratic, and like we are just aligned to do so. No, Stephen A., people vote, meaning all people, they vote accustomed to what pertains to them. What do they see that benefits them in the situation? They don't see anything that the conservative people are talking about that's beneficial to their needs in their community and where they live. Black people who are poor, who live in poor conditions, do not see what the Republican people are saying as involving them in their plans for America. Telling them to go get a job and not helping them get a job and trying to remove jobs at the same time is condescending and not very helpful. So they feel that they vote to what they identify towards. That's why the votes go in that direction. People who are appealing to them. So when Donald Trump started to get a lot of black votes in the last election, he was saying things that identified with them. Donald Trump ain't black. And blacks was voting for him that were poor. So this goes to show you Stephen A. Smith just talks and don't think. He just follows an agenda. And people are seeing through it. And now it's starting to bite him in his ass because his show on ESPN is starting to lose money and the networks are panicking. They're saying, oh, what are we going to do now? The numbers are dropping. Keep your political views off of ESPN. And he was like, I always do. He's like, because we're hurting right now. I don't like it. So now, let's go to a panic move. Let's get Skip Bayless back together. That's going to be the push we need for these new fiscal quarters. We bring back Skip. We'll do a test run. I thought ESPN said we are not bringing Skip back no matter what. Skip went through a lawsuit just like Shannon Sharpe. Did they forget about that? Fox paid that lady. Paid her off. Fired everybody on the show. Now, let's get to the gist of things. Morning protein shake. Now, as I sit here and I watch The Devil Wears Prada, what starts going through my mind in these scenarios are quite different than what others might put together and call their own. When you start seeing situations in its totality and it starts to rear its head, other people start making observations. Skip Bayless and Skip Bayless show on there, it seems so tired. I was watching one of the clips on ESPN. I said, well, let's see what they do here. It was bad. It was bad, y'all. And it wasn't bad in your typical way. It was bad in a why are we doing this way? That's how bad it was. It was quite alarming, to be honest. I saw it and was kind of disgusted, man. Like, why? Like, why would you do this to yourself? You're going back in time. Look, Tom Brady is retired. Tim Tebow is done. The Dallas Cowboys are irrelevant. Now, what is Skip Bayless going to go to now? Oh, LeBron James hate. So Stephen A. Smith has to alter himself to be a LeBron James supporter when Skip Bayless is on the show. So now it doesn't hit the same anymore. Now it's like, because they both can't be the LeBron James hater, right? So now he's got to be the LeBron apologist. And they pick a side that they're going to defend, and they'll go in there and start arguing these points. Well, when you start seeing things develop that shouldn't develop, well, I try to get people to understand that when you start talking about Stephen A. Smith and you're moving the goalpost around, right, is what they call it. You're moving the goalpost. No, no, no. The goalpost is still the same. It's not hitting the same no more. They're not fooling anybody. Bringing back Skip Bayless, these are test modules, right? As they would call filler shows. Right, pilots. Well, think about what's happening around the world. Absolutely not. And the reason why, you have a lot of different people that are losing out because the internet is controlling the space. Now that they see the internet is controlling the space, they want to come and squeeze the people that's been on the internet out to put them there because they don't have any jobs to pay them. They say, well, all the money's on the internet. And they used to brag like, we're on network TV. What the hell is the internet to us? Now they're like trying to fight to get on the internet. People like to make fun of people often make fun of yeah. Well, you got to think about it. When you start seeing all of these renditions of what they're doing, they're trying to do visual displays for you. And it's not making a lot of sense. No. You're running a stick that's old. And when people pay to put your opinion on the screen, that's why it moves like, oh, people see it and they start to go because they see your name. No, they're pushing you because they're paying to push you. But people are choosing not to watch you. They're choosing to go into a direction that doesn't need Stephen A. Smith. First of all, first take, most people are asleep before it comes on. Like people in the hood, like mostly airports, bars, they have contracts with ESPN or something. They'll put it on sports and they'll just turn to ESPN. Most people watch Fox for news. Mm. Start to figure it out. What is the best scenario that you could think of? Right? Remove first take for what? Getting people up there for what? That format is dead. Is dead because they ran it into the ground. What made first take exciting back in the day is that not everybody was doing debate. Now every show was a debate show. So now it's like jump the shark. It's like, okay, 5 days a week, we're doing the same topics every day. Skip Bayless milked it for 10 years. Tom Brady, Cowboys, hate LeBron. Started out with Tebow, then that faded out. Then it went to hate LeBron, love the Cowboys, love Tom Brady. Now that's gone. LeBron's finna be gone. All of that. He has not updated his resume. And the people just have said, all right, well, that's it. Tonight could be LeBron James' last game as a Laker. Well, when people are disrespected, they do disrespectful things. When people are excited, they do exciting things. And no. No, Stephen A. Smith in his contract, this is it. He's not getting another extension after this. He's done. This is his last deal. Why would you hire him to do nothing? He's not moving the needle. So the $100 million deal that everybody's raving about is shortchanged because they're going to be looking to replace it with another person for lesser money. If you can have somebody in there for lesser money doing the same job, they saying, well, look, this guy here I can get for lesser money, and he's doing the same amount of numbers as you. So why am I paying you hundreds of millions of dollars? They pay him that because they know he's going to toe the line. So they're using him as a recruitment to bring in new talent. That's his whole job. And that's what he's doing. He's finding the Cam Newton. He's finding people, but his antenna is broken because he's trying to appease the audience to keep the numbers up like he's moving the needle. No, you're not moving the needle, and you can't find another Shannon Sharp or somebody else of ilk to do that. Cam works for the people that watch Cameron, who watch the young crowd, that watch what it is, what it is. They'll watch that show. Most of them don't watch First Take. And you want to try to bring that audience into First Take. No, they have their viewers already. Most of the people that watch Cam they watch him later because it's on the internet. They don't watch it live. Sometimes they're up, they'll catch it live, but mostly they're at work. They're at their jobs. They don't have time to be out there like that. So, no, you're not going to catch that situation going in that direction. They have no intentions of doing that. Why? Why would they? Stephen A's job is to do what Mike Wilburn did with him, saying, hey, no, this guy's going to be all right. He gets it. Wilborn and them has the number one show on ESPN for years. Mike Wilbon, whatever, and he look at Stephen A. and say, "Hey, this is a good one." He knows, the bosses matter. He's a company man. He's gonna do what he's told. So they give you 8 jobs to earn $100 million. 8 jobs a day. You got to go running around when they call you. Pat McAfee owns his own business. He has one job to do. One. So he got time to go home with his family. He does his show, the Pat McAfee show, and then he leaves, and ESPN can't tell him nothing. Norby Williamson quit because he couldn't tell Pat McAfee what to do. He reported to Bob Iger and the president of ESPN. That's it. Mm-hmm. What makes them so special? That's what I'm saying. What makes them so special? Like, you got other content creators on the internet will give you more information about a game than the people that's making millions of dollars who's sitting at home. And it's like, well, damn, why didn't they say this information? Most of them know this information. They just refuse to give it to you. They'll appease to a team or what have you. Like when LeBron had tore up his and pulled and tore his groin, and when he heard it pop and everything, and they tried to say he was day to day. LeBron is day to day. Why are you lying to the people that own tickets? Because they want to manipulate the ticket goer to believe that LeBron could be back in any game. Because they spent all the money on LeBron James being there, and then in his first year, he tears his damn groin, and everybody knows you're not gonna be the same after that. And LeBron has had problems with his groin ever since. Society put you in that boat. Society said, "Hey, this is where we think where we think you belong, where you should be." A nutless monkey can do more than Stephen A. Smith up there. He doesn't sell it because it's so fake and it's forced. Like when we see it, we know what it is. It's fake, it's forced, and nobody cares to see him anymore. You know what I'm saying? It's like this is embarrassing. And when people start embarrassing themselves on a level of like, dude, you're like in your 60s and you still trying to pull this stick. And people phone in because people got social media. And they watching you and you playing solitary as the NBA game is going on, the finals. It's like, why do they want you representing their product when you don't care about the game? Well, it's all about a scenario. What are you putting together? Are you putting things together just to survive? Come on. It's not the end of the world, but everybody knows what's happening. No, because all of these people, all they want to do is get into it with everyone. They want to have some type of conflict. You see, what was that Gil's Arena show, right? That show is dying. The reason why that show is dying because right, it's dying because it's not a real show. If it was a real show, people would understand it better. They would have an idea. Yeah, they would have an idea of what's going on and what's to come. ESPN is cutting more jobs. People don't realize ESPN is dying. That whole format that they got, they trying to bring everybody in. They've closed down their whole California office. They closed down all these other outlets. ESPN Miami's gonna close soon. Everybody's gonna be right there in Bristol, Connecticut. They're gonna be right there in Connecticut and doing all their jobs there because that's it. And then they're cutting more and more jobs. As these ESPN cuts are going, where are these people going for work? That's how you end up with front office sports. And they was like, how these front office sports people seem to know what's going on in the industry? Because these are the people that they fired. Former writers, former people that they pushed into retirement who didn't want to retire. They paid out their contracts and basically pushed them off the air for people with no talent. Yeah, pretty much. I know. We never do the things that's required of us. We're supposed to do the things that are exceptional. But when we start seeing the pivot, we start seeing a scenario that don't usually fit. So, like I told you, Stephen A. Smith is trying to reinvent himself and reinvent First Take without saying that we're reinventing First Take to try to get you guys right back in the fold. It's a last ditch effort to try to get support. No, Gil's Arena sucks because it's not a real show. They got the people on the show that could make the show work, but it's ran by a clown. And it's not because I don't like Gilbert Arenas, it's because he's a clown. It's not my fault. He dressed up as a clown on this show. So it just lets you know that the man knows he's a clown. And that's the part that they think that's going to bring in the money. Look, he's a clown, but look, he's bringing in the money. He's got millions of dollars coming into the show. Yeah, because everybody wants to see the clown. But everyone else who's trying to actually have a show and make an actual real show, your other shows are running laps around you. To the Baja is way better. Entirely better. Why? Because they don't have a clown on the show. And they own their show. Okay? Everybody sitting there owns that show. That show is owned by somebody else and a guy pretending to be the owner. So when you have a clown activity ran by a clown doing clown acts, what are we supposed to say about that? But call it for what it is. Hey, clown. Hey, clown. Oh, we see the clown. Everybody look at the clown. That's where we are with it. So if it's everybody look at the clown, and there's the moment all over again, what are we really doing? Oh, why the show is a clown show? It's clear. Gil's Arena is a clown show because they don't have any real subjects. They only talk about what's trending on Twitter. And they make bubblegum references when you have people that have played in the NBA. So they know what it's like. Even though it was 20 years ago, they still have played in the league. They have an idea of what's going on in the league and how the game was played. Now, to do that, to give you cookie cutter every day, just yelling and screaming over nonsense because you got a clown in there that just wants to come in there and be a clown 24 hours a day. So he's just yelling and screaming and not addressing real topics or anything, just doing surface level cookie cutter stuff. The people eventually will see through that. You only get fools that keep tuning in for something like that. Real people are going to say, nah, I'm good. I want to hear something real. So you got Club 520 with Teague and what they talking about. Right. You got Charlie Venezuela and all of them to the Baja. You got way better sports shows that people pay attention to. It's embarrassing. You want me to tell you what's embarrassing that they don't cover? Let's talk about bad contracts in the NBA. Who will say that they signed a bad contract? They didn't know what the contract would detail, but let's talk about it, right? Who signed some bad contracts in the NBA? There's plenty of them. I would say How about that as a topic, right? Talk about NBA bad contracts. I think Mo Bamba or whatever, his contract was bad for what he provided on the court. Now, before Draymond Green knocked him out, Jordan Poole contract seemed validated, right? Him and Wiggins got the money. Mo Bamba's out the league, and now you got Isaac comes in. What do you got? 3 years, 44 million? Oh, yeah. Jonathan Isaac, man, he was a rim protector, another Mitchell Robinson. But what happened to Jonathan Isaac? He wasn't getting any rotational minutes. Kept posting up for 3, couldn't make one. Well, Paul George is at the end of his ridiculous contract. And the Clippers are glad to get rid of him and don't have to pay Paul George anymore. Oh, 100%. Miami got the other Nikola Jokic, $63 million contract for 4 years for the other Joker. Now, my thing is, I don't watch a lot of Miami Heat games, but I've seen this guy play, and I did not know he had a deal that high. Yes, nobody talks about him because he's white. I'm serious. Nobody talks about him because he's white. As long as you're white, it's all right. Jalen Green is getting $72 million on a 2-year deal. $72 million for Jalen Green. He's a guy that has plenty of athletic speed and talent. And all he normally does is shoot threes. And he slashes the rim. That seemed to be the new game. Playing for the Suns should open things up for him. But it's all one-on-one play with him. Mikal Bridges, another bad contract. 5 draft picks, what, $149 million? No way. For Mikal Bridges? No way. That's not even something that 14 points per game. That kind of money? Hell no. You would say John Morant, who got 2 years left on his deal, worth $87 million, is a bad contract? That John Morant is in prime time anymore? He's not doing those high defining dunks anymore,
But Ja is still somebody that brings excitement. He moves the needle. And no matter how much you hate him, he still is the guy. Well, the Knicks had a bad contract too with Manuel Quickly. He got what 98 million left on his deal for 3 years. So Emmanuel Quickly got 3 years left on his deal for $98 million, and they just haven't gotten a lot out of Quickly. When he did play, he was kind of impactful, but he's injury prone, and unfortunately, injuries happen. Oh no, Miles Turner's deal. Remember Miles Turner decided to go sign with the Milwaukee Bucks, and it was a disastrous first year of his deal. Oh yeah, definitely. Miles Turner. He signed a 3-year deal worth 84 million with Milwaukee. And Milwaukee Bucks mad that he signed the contract. They waived Dave Leonard. Like, all right, they paying Dame all that money to sit at home and go play for another team. That's how bad Dame was for them in that whole experiment. They just blew all that up. 11 points, 5 rebounds, and 1 block a game. Shooting 40% from the field. You could do better than that. Drew Holiday? Yeah. Drew at that time was a man. He was a mensch. I mean, there was nothing Drew Holiday couldn't do. What couldn't Drew Holiday do? So for me, I don't see Drew Holiday as a bad contract. I think he's earned his money. Now, somebody who didn't, De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox is now on the Spurs. He got a 4-year deal for $223 million. I'm not paying De'Aaron Fox 4 years, 223. I'm sorry. You got. The Spurs realize they are much better without De'Aaron Fox. He's in the way. They really don't need De'Aaron Fox at all. He should be moved in the offseason. Jeremy Grant. Jeremy Grant from Portland. His 2-year deal he got left now with Portland for like what 70 something million. They don't need Grant no more. He can go. Grant Williams. No. What's his name? Patrick Williams from the Chicago Bulls. The one they just keep holding on to see the Bulls hold on to players for so long and just waste their talent. Patrick Williams will be on any other team and be crushing it. So they make it look like Pat Williams is the problem when the organization is the problem. 3 years, 54 million is a good deal for Williams. Now I guarantee you, Green, that's on the Pistons, he was on the Bulls. And all of a sudden, Woo's doing great with us. You know why? Because we actually play basketball in a system. Patrick Williams would be great on any other teams. Well, this is it for Jordan Poole. He got 1 year left on his deal for $34 million. He's probably gonna be out the league. 13 points per game, 3 assists, a giant fall off in New Orleans, where all he got to do is just basically score the ball. Jordan Poole spent too much time partying, erratic behavior. A lot of people believe he's on psychedelics. It's just ruined his career. He's just so off and on. But let's talk about people they don't talk about. Christian Brown, whose name is spelled Braun, the white guy in Denver, right? 5 years, $125 million. Who the hell would pay Christian Brown 5 year, $125 million? Has Christian Brown ever been an all NBA player? Ever? Is he on all defense? How do you justify the Christian Brown contract? To me, that is the worst contract in the NBA. And I'm like, why isn't it being talked about on any of these sports shows? You know why First Take won't say that? You know why all these guys aren't going to say that? Because he's white! Because he's white! 12 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. A 30% three-point shooter. 30% in this age. 12 points a game. And you paying him that kind of money, you are insane. So that's why I be saying the stuff I be saying. I'm saying it off realism. They never talk about the white people. Well, Zach LaVine's at the end of his deal. He finna opt in for his $49 million for 1 season. It's his last deal of his contract. Last time Zach could see money like that ever again in the NBA. And unfortunately for him, he was marred by injuries, but the things he did athletically is crazy. And you know how stupid LeBron fans are when I say Zach LaVine was more athletic than LeBron. No, he ain't. No, nobody in the world more athletic than LeBron James. How dare you say that? Because he won some dunk contests? LeBron could have won if he got in it. Yeah, I'm just like, whatever, man. I'm not going to argue with you. Well, Jimmy's getting $57 million this year with Golden State. So Jimmy Butler, who should be back at the start of the next season, This is his last year with Golden State. He'll be a free agent after this year. And Jimmy is going to be receiving $57 million from the Golden State Warriors. So to get LeBron for the bare minimum would be a blessing for them because they're already wrapped up too tight with money. So for this season alone that's coming up, this is it. You're riding out with Jimmy Butler. You'll have LeBron. You'll have Steph Curry and Draymond. Well, Joel Embiid's got 3 years left on his deal. He doesn't seem to be leaving Philly. He likes it at Philly. They're not blowing the team up. They're actually building. For the first time in their life, they're building. And all they need is a couple of more pieces. If Joel's knee can hold up, then, sky's the limit. But nobody talks about Anthony Davis's contract. He's got 2 years left, 121 million. He's basically lost 2 years of his career as an NBA player. And they was like, AD is one of NBA all 75. He really shouldn't be there. But he was there because of LeBron and playing alongside him to try to justify LeBron. It's like, but he's 20-11. He shot 27% from three. 27%. That's not great at all for a guy who spots up at the 3-point line a lot. Well, for Anthony Davis to come into the season in the type of shape he was in was disrespectful to the game. And it showed like, man, this dude came in fat as hell. And from the off season to now, like he wasn't coming in with any intentions to try to prove something. Well, you got Paul George again for next season. I mean, he finna really stick it to him. That 2 year 110 million. 2 years, 110 left on his contract for Paul George. So you can't move him. Who's gonna take that weight? If I could move Paul George, I would move his ass immediately. But you stuck. I know the Clippers are celebrating their ass off over that. Those are some of the worst deals in NBA contract history right now. Mm-mm. No. I really don't see the holdup in the situation, man. I really don't. Yeah, ESPN, every sports person's nightmare. That's what it stands for. Every sports person's nightmare. They fired all the people that mattered. They hired inexperienced people to take their place for lesser money. They sacrificed talent for sideshow projects and people with less experience and said, let's roll the dice. The network is big enough to survive. There's levels to all of this. There's levels to all of it. You know what I'm saying? So oh yeah. That's how it operates. That's really how it operates. Oh yeah. Are you ready for part two? Oh, you ready for part two? Hope y'all didn't think that was it. Marcellus Wiley added more selections to the chart. Now, the reason why is because he got what other people didn't want to bring to the table.
People got by in this game by being different and being indifferent. Meaning Nick Wright got promoted by just changing. He was a big Kobe Bryant fan. He had a bald head and he was on ESPN. Then he grew a beard, grew his hair out, got some moose. Right? Started showing his black kids from his relationship with his woman. Then everything changed, didn't it? It all went left.
Because a lot of times I live in fairy tale land. People are always like, oh, my she's so down to earth. No, I don't think I'm bigger than better than you, which has come back to hurt me in some situations. Present day. Sometimes you got to act like you bigger and better than people. Real spit. I hate to say it, but you do. Because that's value. If not, people won't just devalue you. They do stuff to you, for real. So this is interesting because I thought it was just surface level. Skip is back. Finally, they made amends. And then you start to hear it's a little deeper than that.
Stephen A., perhaps a bit desperate here. Perhaps he needs Skip Bayless more than he's letting on because Shannon Sharp, according to Awful Announcing, is not under consideration to return to First Take. And Stephen A. has made it clear he'd love to have Shannon Sharp back. According to Awful Announcing, ESPN isn't even considering that. And
that's a change from the Super Bowl because Shannon put it out there first and then Stephen A. put it out there. Maybe that was like some public pressure on ESPN and they've come to the conclusion. Nah, son, nah.
According to Bobby Burack, and this is just factual, for a couple of years, Stephen A. Smith was adamant or pretty firm. Nah, the thing with me and Skip Bayless is over. That's not open. I don't want to, there's no reason to bring him back. They've done other reunions on podcasts or whatever. But this is more about Stephen A. being desperate because the Pat McAfee show is growing after his show and Get Up with Mike Greenberg is growing before his show. And Stephen A.'s ratings are flat. This is a desperation move.
Dang. And there's receipts. Stick around. I'll show you the numbers and you'll be like, oh, really? So this is not just Whitlock hating on Stephen A. This got real meat and potatoes to wake you up, open our eyes.
Jason, first of all, I want to say I think Bobby Burack is challenging your throne as the most hated guy from Stephen A. Smith.
No, he's not. He's in the money. I don't think he's challenging my throne, but
no. He's number 2, moving up like a rocket ship. Trust me. Good job, Bobby. I'm just wondering, why draw the line at Shannon Sharp? Is it purely the legal issues? But if Stephen A. Smith is the center of the universe, and I was thinking about this, what do they say about great head coaches? They create a tree where other coaches under their banner, under their helm, become great coaches themselves. So,
So anyway, Steve Kim is about boxing. He don't know what the hell he's talking about. He's just talking. Now, when we get into the full aspect of things, what people call BS, Marcellus Wiley starts to break it down, the same things that I was telling you. And the reason that he's breaking it down the way he's doing it is because it got legs, it got teeth. As I told y'all earlier in the beginning of this video, this isn't blah, blah, blah. This isn't my rhetoric about Stephen A. Smith because I don't like Stephen A. Smith. I'm giving you reality. I'm giving you what's going on in these worlds in the media spaces. Because in the entertainment space, this is how it is. And the numbers the bosses pay attention to aren't the numbers the fans listen to. And those things are different. And as long as they're different, there's always going to be some indifference involved in the situation. Oh, yeah.
You've been open about this conversation of the reunion of Skip and Stephen A. and saying, no, that door is closed. We already did that. We're not doing that again. Now, this could be a one-off, or this could be a little masterful play. Like, hey, we need the boost. Either way, it's interesting because I do remember him saying, nah, we good on the Skip and Stephen A reunion, and now they're not. And now this is what they're saying really is the reason. ESPN just now put out April numbers that further strengthen my column. Get Up is up 24%. Pat McAfee is up 29%. The show that airs between them, First Take, adjusts 6%. First Take was buried in their press release. Let's read this if we can. Okay, all right, so here's ESPN. Best April ever for two shows. SportsCenter averaged 529,000 viewers, up 28%. Get Up averaged 447,000, a year-over-year increase of 24. Multiple shows continue strong years in April. All right. So PTI, SportsCenter, Pat McAfee. First Take was up 6%, averaging 491. So 440, that's closing the gap for real, but 491 still up. SportsCenter 580, NBA Today 364. That's a lot for them. Good for them. I do like their show though. I like it now. Malika and all them, yeah, they go. NFL Live 470. So all that, I'm number one and all that stuff is just coming into question that I think of people who are saying right now. And they're like, yo, what's the real? What's the fake? Well, you tell me, beat up in the comments, what you thinking. What I'm thinking is, yeah. Look, what they always say is teachers say it's easy to get an A. It's hard to keep an A. It's hard to be number one forever, especially when you got McAfee, which is this.
Which is not part of their system. He's a hired gun. He's not signed to ESPN. Pat McAfee is his own entity. He hired his own staff. That means ESPN cannot fire Pat McAfee's staff. He brought his staff with him when he came over. So everybody who knows us and knows everything about us and how we move, how we operate, how we think, how we blink, there's always going to be a level of indifference somewhere over the rainbow. Now, oh yeah, we had to wait a little bit to get to the magic hour. Because now we get to really cook. I thought it'd get a little warmer. But I don't need a jacket for this. All right. Let's get out here where we can really cook. I don't know who put this about meat. Trying to mess up my car tires and shit. Now, let's get to the ghetto. Though I said, even though it hurts to say, and it must be said, there are scenarios that are put in place that's supposed to govern the way we think as people, you know? And the way we do things and the way we travel and the way we communicate, we need to be better at what it is that we're doing. And we're not going to get there if we don't change the way we're doing things. Now, here's the suffice part. All those other shows, like the Get Up show in the morning, they're gathering more viewership and people are tuning off. See, that show is called the lead-in show. That's supposed to lead everybody in. And they stay on First Take. So those numbers that you saw are the ESPN numbers. You saw that 6%? You could say, well, man, that's an increase. It's an embarrassment. A 6% bump from what they didn't put out. If you got a lead-in show that's up 24%, this is the lead-in show. They're up 24%. That's massive. And your show only gets 6%? And you're the flagship show? It's embarrassing. Even SportsCenter's numbers are up. So if SportsCenter's numbers are up, the lead-in show numbers are up. What say you? Why are you so far behind the 8 ball? What's up, number one? Outlaw used to be number one. Outlaw done fell off. He done dropped down to 33%. He's number 33 in top fan. What's up, Indigenous? Number one, holding down the chat. So, here's what was supposed to happen, people. Malika Andrews was supposed to come over to First Take, right? But the NBA signed her to a deal. And in that deal, they don't want her on First Take. Working 5 days a week, coming on First Take. She has a license with the NBA. So she has an NBA contract along with her ESPN deal. So, but her is contingent with the National Basketball Association. So as long as ESPN got NBA, that's her job. So no, she's not part of the ESPN circle. She's aligned with the NBA. Now, here's something else you didn't know. Taylor Rooks was sought after by Stephen A. Smith to try to recruit her to be on First Take and replace Molly Curran. Molly Curran found out about that because other people at ESPN who like Molly, who don't like Stephen A., brought that up to Molly Curran that they're trying to force her out and bring in Taylor Rooks. And reportedly, Carrie Champion told Taylor Rooks, don't take that job. Y'all hearing the real right now. This is the real behind the scenes stuff that I normally give y'all on the Patreon. Y'all getting it right now. My phone blowing up off the hook. People are calling in. Like, stop. So for all my Patreons that's here, they're now getting abreast of what we do on the Patreon. See? Now, why don't all these other so-called sports shows have this information that I'm giving you? You know who wanted the ESPN job? Wanted to work at ESPN and can't get a job? Joy Taylor. And why Joy Taylor can't get the job? Because she fucked the goddamn VP. They don't want that on ESPN. Sorry, that's what happened. Charlie Dixon rumors, you can call them rumors, but everybody knows Charlie Dixon, and they're quite sure you're only there because of your tits and ass. And you had your own show. You was with Emmanuel Acho. Y'all had your own program. And just wasn't doing good numbers. Now, I like Speakeasy because it's more interactive with the actual people, the actual fans. So, Speakeasy actually interacts, but you do have a bunch of actors on there. And once you have actors on there, then you don't understand anything because you kind of lost in the sauce. So a lot of things come off as performative. Oh yeah, shouts out to Kwame Brown Bus Life. Make sure y'all subscribe to his page, because Kwame give you authentic. It ain't about if he got 30 million views or he got 20 views. It don't matter. What he say is gold, because what he's saying is not paid for. It's not an agenda base. It's how he feels. If you agree with it or disagree with it, it's his genuine thought. So that's why it's not something, it's like, well, no, somebody paid Kwame to do that. He's not that individual. Unlike others, like the Arenas guy, you hear from him, he's bought and paid for. Money in the hand, babe. Money in the hand, babe. Now look, either we can get real about it or we can get unrealistic about it. It doesn't matter. The guidelines are the guidelines. No exceptions. Yeah, Stephen A. wanted Taylor Rooks up there, right? They did a NBA thing when they were working around trying to see where she was going to go. Taylor Rooks was doing NFL and NBA at the time. So she was in contract negotiations with the NFL and the NBA. She pulled away from Joy Taylor at the right time because her people contacted her and told her, like, Joy Taylor got a massive lawsuit coming towards her and we don't want you a part of that. So Taylor was like, I can't really be around right now. She tried to say, I'm too busy to do the show. So she never let Joy Taylor know that this lawsuit was coming. And before it even came out public, Fox was aware that it was coming, and Joy was made aware that this was coming. And they had to keep and stand by Joy Taylor, even though they know they were removing her at the end of the year. Couldn't fire her. So with all this going on, she's eating foods on social media. They suspend Joy Taylor when she came into work the next morning off of vacation and told her stay on vacation for at least another week or two, because you're making sexually provocative photos on your social media page. But this is how she wants to get interest. She went from a person that wanted to be taken seriously to a girl that's basically showing off her tits and ass for attention. Then when some males pay attention to it, she goes, ew, what are they looking at me for? Like, I'm a piece of meat. It's like, well, stop sticking your tits in people's faces. Like, what do you expect them to do? You knew girls like that in high school. You knew girls like that all the time. They wear stuff for attention, then they get the attention and complain about the attention. Hit the like button, good people. I know y'all just got here. Last time I saw Joy Taylor, she wasn't looking like that. No, Joy was a soccer player. She was You know, just a regular teenage girl when I saw her. You know, none of the stuff you see today. Nobody was like checking for joy or anything like that. It was like once she became an adult woman and everybody saw her, it's like, whoa, where all that come from? No, I just know people that have known the Taylor family for a while and love Joy now. You know, want to see them make it like a great family, like the brothers, the sisters down in Florida. You know, going to the Pro Bowl, meeting JT, his new wife. It's been nothing but like nice, classy people, man. Real respectful. But from what we've known of Joy, always been the problematic or the odd duck of the family. Seriously. For those who don't know, she was always the odd duck. The one that's gonna get in trouble. The one that's gonna do stuff. It would be Joy. They'd be like, what has Joy done now? So, to see her covering sports, like when she first came out, I was just like, oh, that's Joy. Well, Joy knows the sport. You know, she does play sports, talk sports. Like, she's in that ilk. Yeah, you're never gonna have to worry about Joy. So, yeah, I mean, Joy's gotten herself in a lot of trouble. Then she started giving off like relationship advice, and ooh, it's a bad idea. But okay, let's go with it. So I started listening to Too Personal because I came up with the name. I was like, it should be called Joy Taylor Rooks. That should be the podcast show. You and Taylor Rooks. It should be Joy Taylor Rooks. And it was like, I'm like, the Taylor be a different color. I had it laid out for him and everything. I said, this is what y'all show need to be. Joy Taylor Rooks. And had a Taylor in red. Joy Taylor Rooks. And I was like, that should be the name of y'all podcast show. And I'm giving y'all information y'all know about. But I was like, that should be the name of y'all podcast show. And they was like, oh, that's a great idea. You know, but then they were like, well, this how I knew that there was things in the background happening. Where somebody was like, well, I don't think you want to attach your name to it in case something happens. Then you got to change and rebrand the whole show. So we'll just call it Too Personal. Now, if somebody falls out, you can bring somebody else on the show. So they were already preparing for failure before they even launched. They had no clue of what they were doing. This is when Taylor Rooks found out there's no structure on this show. There isn't a layout on this show. Like nothing, completely nothing, all the time. And then Stephanie Wiseman, the realtor over there, was pretty much very informative in this situation. She was very helpful. She's the one that informed us, Joy, of what was happening and how rude you were during that house hunt that you got and was going through at the time when you were engaged to Earl Watson, right? And how rude and condescending you were to her. So, and they was like, well, don't you know her? I'm like, I don't really too much comment with her. Like, any contact I would have with them would be through social media, through some other people in the media department who I would say, okay, well, here's what y'all should do. I was basically helping out for free. I was freely giving them advice. But Taylor Rooks, who already has a deal, whose father, Thomas Rooks, was the running back here in Illinois, played in Champaign, who we know here in Chicago very well. So when that habit came along, we started to see a lot of dilemmas change. We saw a lot of attitudes change. We saw people's personalities shift. And once all of that started happening, then that's when the banks got along. You know, she started seeing the structure of her being on regular podcast shows. They started to see how this was ran and was like, okay, so I guess we're just gonna start it off and then we're gonna get people behind this and then it'll pick up and then we'll take it off, right? So they were hoping someone else would come along, get involved, and help push the show along. Then, you know, allegedly, Gilbert Arenas comes around and has his dick out and was like, hey, look at that. I'm here to help out. So, Joey was like, oh, I know how to handle him. I'm going to use this fool. And so she found this fool and decided, let me go ahead and try to manipulate this guy. I know how to handle people just like him. There's another Emmanuel Acho. Let me handle this person the same way I handled that fool to get what I want. And allegedly, that fool had his dick out and a checkbook out. And was footing the bills. And when Joy goes, Daddy, I need someone to do my Instagrams and my videos. I don't have anybody. And I just can't afford those prices right now. It's so expensive in California. I wish I was back in Miami. Oh, don't worry. Ha ha. I got just the person for you. Ha ha. Oh, you do? Then he calls up his crackhead buddy. Ah, how would you like to make some money? Ha ha. I got something for you after you get through shoveling that piece of shit and putting it in the bucket and cleaning up all the vomit. I got some old jobs for you. Oh, sure, Bo. Anything you want, Bo. I want you to work on Joy Taylor's page for free. Ha ha. Okay, Bo. I'll do it. What she want? She'll send you the video over. You just to deal with her. Okay. Here's a goes. Cheap labor. So this is how a junkie ends up working with somebody that they shouldn't be. Now, hit the like button up. I told you we was gonna get to the magic hour. So Taylor Rooks knew to pull out. It was too hot. She had too many deals on the table. And what Joy was saying on these shows was a little explosive. So it was a little bit too real. Where she sounds very anti-man because she's been in relationships that have burned her. But her antenna is broke. And when she did, this good man cannot understand why his woman is acting not like a feminine woman, but a masculine woman. Because if you're a masculine man, you don't want a masculine woman. The reason why ESPN has zero interest, I mean zero interest in Joy Taylor. They have no interest. Taylor Rooks knew her job is interviewing masculine NFL males. She's okay with being feminine. So 90% of her job is trying to make sense out of what Joy just said out of her mouth. That comes from a masculine woman perspective. And then she'll have to say it in a feminine woman's perspective. It's like, I think what Joy means to say is this. To try to clean it up. So people will be like, look, I can't stand dude. Ooh, Joy Taylor. Because that's how Joy comes off. She's very tomboyish. The Joy I met was tomboyish. Because she played sports. We were on the same volleyball team. Not as a team, but just playing for fun. We was with Ward Dunn family, a couple other people, families. So we had fun. But she was thinking like me. As far as competitiveness and wanting to win, she think like a dude. Steve Harvey done messed these women head up. See, all you gotta do is think like a man. Oh, they rebuilt the community garden. Look, our community garden is rebuilt. See, this is what we do over here. Now, why can't we do this in our area? This teaches the kids how to garden. See, we had this in our neighborhood. It's called the community garden, where people will come out and they will teach their younger kids how to garden. And they come out here and they rebuild it up. So every winter, you know, it always goes down, but once the weather starts to change, they come back out here and the community comes in and they garden, teaching kids how to survive, giving them life lessons, life tool lessons. No, well, you got to think about the process. What is the process? The process is very clear. Once you start putting things in motion, you want that process to work for you, not work for you, right? So Taylor Rooks made the best decision for herself. See, I told you if you stuck around, this is going to get very interesting for you. We were just warming up. You know how some people talk for like 20, 30 minutes and then it just dies off? No, that ain't us. That is not us. We make it count around here. Now, what is the next level? Oh, that's quite simple. We have another thing at play for the community. Oh no. No, Dave McMenamin wanted to start his own podcast show and get his identity out there. But Dave McMenamin is a writer. He's not used to being on television. So Dave McMenamin, who's Irish, you know, he's used to just being a writer and covering sports that way. But Malika, his girlfriend that they put together, right? And she was out there drinking hand sanitizer when she was in Utah, because she was a goddamn lush. And we used to have a problem going around, horn around in 8th grade. 8th grade. Malika Andrews is in 8th grade, horn around, just being totally bad. Hanging out with grown boyfriends. She was 15-year-old dating a college student. She was out of control, mad that she was mixed. You know, she wanted to be white. Argue with her mom about why she doesn't look like her mom. A lot of identity crisis going on. All the stuff you didn't know. So they put her in a crazy house because she kept sleeping with people and they kicked her out of school. Yeah, you didn't know Malika Andrews didn't graduate high school. Now, how does a person that don't graduate high school goes to the nut house way out in Utah? They sent her to a cult. Her family sent her to a cult that take them out in the jungle and teach them how to eat. And they had to live on this plantational farm where they teach them to obey and make them do their own work, their own chores, take care of horses, clean up horses. It was like Amish paradise way out there in Utah. And then she would sneak out and run away every time she could. And then they went to the movie theaters with the one guy who went there who told the story. And they couldn't have any liquor. So the only thing that had alcohol in it was the hand sanitizer that they had. So she would be sitting there making drinks with hand sanitizer, drinking hand sanitizer to get drunk. Can't make this up. Can't make it up. And her best friend that she had there at that university, she's in there trying to sleep with the boyfriend. That was Malika Andrews. And now she done reinvented herself. Because she don't want to go back to that crazy house. Now, oh yeah, you ain't know that? Boy, Malika Andrews got bodies. She got bodies on top of bodies. She has slept with the damn whole 8th grade class down there. That's why she only dates white men. Don't get mad at me. Her mama told this story. Her mama wrote the book about it. You could buy the book right now on Amazon. How Malika was the biggest problem they ever had. And it was all about the struggles of raising a biracial child. You know, the identity crisis. She came home crying because she didn't look like her mama. She wanted to look like her mom so bad. Her sister, Kendra, didn't have these problems. She was comfortable in her skin. No. No. It's crazy. And they put these women on television and try to tell you they're on the up and up. Now, everybody changed. And that's what happened to her. She went on a ranch. She stayed at home. She said she wasn't going to get in trouble no more. And she worked on this farm where they kept her with these horses. And she fell in love with taking care of the animals and the horses. And that changed her life. So all this mental identity crisis she was going through, you know, as a youngster, and her rebelling out, doing sexual acts to just despise her parents, you know, all these things turned around full circle. Hey, how you doing? So that's why Taylor Rooks didn't want to blow her deal. And you see, she's got a massive NBA deal that keeps her with the NBA, where she used to have the NFL deal. Now she's got an NBA deal with Prime, and they taking her over there. Well, that's people's fault. People are the reason for a lot of these changes that you see in development that comes forth. And once people get acclimated to something, then they can make their adjustments, right? So Dave McMenamin ended up marrying this woman after being set up with Clutch Sports. They all signed up with Clutch. So they one big ball. So they put them together as a power couple, but didn't want to leak out that Malika Andrews was dating a white man because this would ruin her in the African American community. ESPN needed her face and her color tone, her skin tone, but knowing her brain is bleached, they loved it. They was like, your brain is white, that's perfect. We need somebody whose brain is white, but skin is black. Because we just started believing her like she was down with us. Like, hey man, they got a young sister on there, way to go. All right, ESPN, we don't let y'all slide with that racist shit. So, you know, that's how the brothers was looking at it. Then the Maria Taylor thing went under the ground. Because they hired a black sister and they covering the NBA finals. Two sisters. ESPN is gonna kill two birds with one stone. We're not racist and we're not chauvinistic. Even though we are. We can't appear to look that way. So every sports person's nightmare decided to make another decision and roll that dice and throw it down the lane. Oh yeah. Every action was a reaction. Because they knew they were losing Maria Taylor and tried to make her feel like nothing. Like she would be nothing without ESPN. She was dumb. She losing the NBA. Look at what she's throwing away. She knew what she was getting ready to gain. Plus, why would she suck it up to work at a place that disrespected her like that? So she took a better deal. Now she got the Olympics in Paris. Guess what? They just did an NBA deal. Guess who gets that too? Guess who gets Paris? Guess who gets swimming? The NFL. Guess who gets all of that? Maria Taylor. Guess who wants her to be there? Guess who likes she's there? Guess who does college football? Guess who does all of these things on NBC? Maria Taylor. All because she bet on herself. And she says, my respect is first before any check. And I don't care what black athlete you get to come out and say something stupid like Steven Jack. Man, Maria Taylor was a sympathy high. You know, you get somebody stupid because they want to kiss up to the white person to help them. And the white person say, I need you to come out and defend for me. And you run out there and say something stupid, talking on something you don't know about, and against a black woman. To defend Rachel Nichols, the woman who was disrespecting her on the video, on the audio that leaked. So, shouts out to that black woman that leaked that audio, that recorded it. That was from God, hands down. Oh, absolutely. That's the best way to do things. Now, while moving along and doing these events that don't toe the line of the actual conventional way of doing things, is that beneficial to you? Eh, we gon' see. Stephen A. He's never gonna learn, pretty much. But it is what it is. At the end of the day, it comes down to a common familiarity, right? There's a reason why they're dumbing us down. They dumbed us down in everything. Are the best actors and actresses getting the jobs? No. It's the most sluttiest. Music, the best singers. Are we getting the best singers or the best music? No. We're getting prostitutes with microphones. Gangbangers with microphones. So we're getting the very bare minimum or the less. And they're promoting that to the world as the standard. Meanwhile, those who are talented, those who have value, those who know their worth are being forced to conform or with nothing at all. So we play this game that goes round and round called Make It Make Sense. Will you one day make it make sense? Because see, the problem is these guys start to believe their own press clippings. And they start thinking they do have talent. Now, that ain't good. That ain't good at all. Oh, buddy, this is not good. There we go. So we're back from our power walk. Hope you enjoyed enjoyed all this information while we get it in. Staying lean, staying firm, staying fit, and enjoying the day. Now I gotta go water the grass and do all this extra stuff around the house. Deuces.